I have a little 14 karat gold pendant I found with my Amphibio in a school I call jewelry school because I found so much jewelry there. And I'm going to test this gold on the Equinox, the Simplex, and the Deus. And I'll show you some weaknesses of the machines, and I'll show you some strengths of the machines. I'll start out with the Equinox, and the Equinox is deadly on foil and low conductive targets if you're in clean ground. Man, that Equinox is super great. You cannot fool the Equinox with foil or lower conductive targets. It will just not hit. It will not give you high tones or high numbers on foil, except if you have one of these next to it, right? I'll show you the strength and the weakness of the Equinox right now. By far, the Equinox performs best out of any of my machines on this target right here. Clean ground, right? The Equinox just slams this target out. No matter how fast I swing, no matter how fast I swing, this Equinox stays solid on it. It just locks right onto it. If there's no iron around, if you have clean soil, see, watch. Solid 5, right? I'm in 50 tone. So if I have anything else around that target there, I'm gonna get multiple tones, but it's solid 5, right? I'm getting a little bit of side tones, 4. But look at how fast I'm swinging. Look at my recovery speed too. My recovery speed isn't that wild, right? I'm only at 4. I can even drop it down here and it'll really smack it down. Still smacks, and I'm swinging super fast. I mean, that is a really fast swing speed. That's amazing. And I'll actually raise it up here to 5. Look at how fast I'm swinging. Just solid, solid, solid. But now let's introduce that nail into this whole situation, right? Let's introduce some iron within the field of that coil around, surrounding that target. I can barely pinpoint it now, right? So that's one of the weaknesses of the Equinox. If you have any iron around that target, you're going to get a lot of jumpy tones, and it's going to be very, very difficult to pinpoint that target. I'll turn the iron on, right? And I'll show you another weakness of the Equinox. I'll turn the iron off. See, it's pulsing. It's giving me high tones on that iron right there, right? Sounds like a penny, right? I don't know if you guys own an Equinox or not, but I've dug up a lot of nails with this Equinox, and they sound just like pennies, or big iron sounds like nickels, right? And all machines have their faults. All machines thrive in certain areas, but man, if you are going for gold and you want to swing fast, the Equinox is the machine to own, man. Once you get around iron, that all changes, right? There's other machines that can thrive a lot better, and this machine does killer in the beach. No other machine, no other BLF machine will perform like this out at the beach. The Deus might do pretty good in the beach, but it's just not waterproof, right? I'm not going to take the Deus out to around any water because it's just not waterproof, right? You got to use the right machine for the right conditions. Here's a Simplex. And the Equinox in Park 1 will not hit that target nearly as good, pretty much with most settings in the Park 1, because you're running at lower frequencies. The lower frequency machines don't really like a fast swing speed hitting low conductive targets. I have it down low because the Simplex at volume level 2 is super loud right now. I can't be too loud right now. See how it's just jumpy? Just not a very good solid tone. If I swing fast, I'm not getting a solid beep on there. But if I go slow, that's in Park 2, fast recovery speed. Here's Park 1. A lot of iron tones, right? Because that that gold is so close to the iron range that it's giving me some iron tones with it, right? See, 0404, right? It's a 12 kilohertz frequency machine. Probably won't be able to hear it over that guy's on over there. I'll turn it back down since he stops on. See, a lot of iron tones in there. There's no iron in there, right? There's no iron down there, right? There's no iron down there. It's just concrete. I'll go to field mode. See, it's still just super jumpy. It's a 12 kilohertz machine. That's why the Equinox in Park 1 was not hitting it that great, especially swinging at faster swing speeds, because it's lower frequency. It favors those lower frequencies in Park 1. Right? Now I'll introduce the iron into it. Not even hitting it. Not even hitting it that way. Right? Now I'll show you what it sounds like, that nail. Right? Pulsing. So I can't really do that test. It's not, the Simplex is just not going to hit it. Just too low of a frequency machine to be hitting it. Right? That nail right there is going to alter this. I just won't be able to hit this. I'll be digging up that nails all day long. You know? Those nails are killers with the Equinox and the Simplex, you know, just a fact, you know, right? So I can't really do a test with the Simplex because it's pulsing so bad on that nail. So I'll take that nail out. But the Simplex is a single frequency machine, you know, it's an entry-level machine. The Equinox it's so much more versatile than the Simplex. But the I believe that those two machines are just comparable with the depth, right? Especially when you get the bigger coils on them. But with the separation, I think that the Simplex does a little bit better in the iron than the Equinox, but both of them really don't do that great in the iron when there's a lot of iron in the ground. So I got the Deus in pitch tones, 74 kilohertz. I can't swing very fast, right? Or else it'll just sound like iron. I have to swing pretty slow. And I don't want to change any settings because these are my normal settings. Well, I'll change one setting. I'll discriminate down to 9.8. And I'll go down to I'll go down to 31 kilohertz. Pretty much just it's non-existent, right, at 31 kilohertz. Just not high enough. It's hitting it a little teeny bit, but I have to slow down a lot. Now I'll go down to 14 kilohertz, which is really close to the Simplex. The Simplex runs at 12 kilohertz. See? Nothing. Moderate swing speed, right? Not going to hit it at 14 kilohertz. Now I'll go down to full tones, just a stock hot program. It's down here, number 9. It's going to give me a low tone. It's a low tone, 14 kilohertz. I can still swing pretty fast. Still be hitting on that. It's getting really tight tone there. And I'll just change my frequency here to 31 kilohertz. This is a stock program hot. Still hitting it, right? It's a mid-tone right there. Really small target, I can tell. It's really unstable right now because it's just a stock hot program. I can dial it in a lot better to make it not give me a double beep on that as I'm swinging over the coil there. Now I'll go to 74 kilohertz. Fast swing speed. I'm getting a really tight high chirp right there on it. That's all I'm changing is just the frequencies, right, in the stock hot program. Now I'll introduce the iron into it, right, at 74 kilohertz. I'll take that gold out of there. It's iron, right? Go really slow over it. Put that gold right in there. It's hitting it big time. Right. That's at 74 kilohertz. I'll drop that frequency down to 31 kilohertz. Almost not being able to hit that one, right? I'll see if it's falsing. Difference in tones, right? Right? Barely hitting it. Pretty much not hitting it. Right? I'm getting a little bit of a high tone there. Now I'll go down to 14 kilohertz. Sounds just like iron, right? Sounds just like iron. I realize that the Deus really isn't a super deep machine if you're swinging fast. You know, you get a lot of those grunts. You got to get a lot of those iron tones on those higher conductive targets. And with the Equinox around iron, you're going to struggle pinpointing those targets. With the pitch tones on the Deus, I can just put in pitch tones and swing at a moderate speed, you know, a reasonable speed, and pick those targets out. But when I get in full tones in the lower frequencies, it's not going to pick those lower conductive targets out. Maybe on all three of these machines, if that was a dime sitting next to that nail right there, all three of them would pick them out pretty good. But when it comes to lower conductive targets like gold, which is close to the range of iron, the machines are going to struggle in the lower frequencies, you know. And with the Simplex, you know, it's a deep-seeking machine. But once you get it around some iron, trying to get those lower conductive targets out, you're going to struggle. You're going to dig a lot of nails up. You're going to dig a lot of nails up, especially with the Equinox and the Simplex, because they just false on the iron. I've tested these machines for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. I've had so many videos testing these machines, comparing the signals on these targets, like on some iron and some jewelry and some coins and some bottle caps. And the Deus just seems to really pull those low conductive targets out of the iron. The Equinox, you saw that. The Equinox, I was able to swing that detector over as fast as I can, and it was still hitting it big time. But once I introduced the iron into it, it's a whole different ball game. With the Deus, I can't swing that fast. I can't swing that fast with basically any machine. But you saw that with the Deus, in the higher frequencies, it's hitting those low conductive targets, and it's separating them out. They just stand right out, and it's very easy to pinpoint those targets. And that's another thing too, being able to pinpoint an iron. You know, you want to be able to extract out as many targets as you can within a certain amount of time on your hunt, and not dig out too many nails, not too many iron square nails and round piece of iron. I mean, all these machines are going to fall on those round piece of iron or those large piece of iron. But being able to pinpoint those small conductive, high conductive targets in the iron, the Deus thrives at that. But I just have to get through those round pieces of iron, because all three of these machines, all VLF machines, will false on those round objects like washers, bottle caps, any odd shaped piece of iron. All VLF machines will false on them. There's just no way you can get around from digging up those round pieces of flat iron. But when it comes to lower conductive targets, I'm able to adjust the Deus, and it's taken me quite a few months to figure it out. But pitch tones is really going to get it done. But I've noticed that in pitch tones, I dig up a lot more junk. A lot more junk. I'm trying to learn the full tones, hearing those lower conductive targets, like those, they're not grunts, they're not iron grunts, but they are low tones. And those low tones are so close to that iron tone that it almost, they almost blend together, you know, in full tones. If I try to use the Deus in 3, 4, 5 tone, I just would be digging up a lot of iron. You know, that pitch tones really gets it done. But you're going to be digging up a lot more junk if you're going to be in pitch tones. I've experienced that a lot. The pitch tones, it gives you just one tone. You know, it's more of a proximity tone. It's telling you how close that discriminated target is to your coil. With the Equinox and the Simplex, you just don't really have those fine settings that the Deus has. But the Simplex is very comparable to the Deus at high conductive targets, compared the field mode to the pitch tones. It's just amazing how good of a detector the Simplex is for only 250 bucks. You get a lot for your money. But with the falsing and the iron, you know, I can set that Deus up to not false on that iron, but I can't do that with the Equinox and the Simplex. There's just no way to get around that, digging up those nails with the Equinox and the Simplex. The Deus, I have dug up very few nails with the Deus since I've been swinging it for the last few months. You just got to learn how to dial it in. It's taken a lot of trial and error, a lot of testing, and a lot of digging up junk with the Deus, but I'm starting to learn the full tones. I know that the pitch tones will do better in the relic dumps, but I'm trying to get the full tones set up to work in the relic dumps. But, well, there we go. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.